And hello everybody, and welcome back to another Ero race weekend. There's a few messages happening in the chat saying wet race. Ha ha ha. Another one. Okay, so redo the intro. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Ero race weekend. Today we're here for the first round, or the first of 9 races not 9, first of 8 races this weekend. Today we are here in Brazil. We're here for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, round 15 of 17. And this is quite a big day. So was last week, but it's ever so close that this week could be the week that we see the first PlayStation Championship being sealed off. In other words, if nobody knows, last week Zulf had a chance of securing the championship. It was very slim odds, but there was a chance that he could have took it. Unfortunately, he did not. Joe ended up finishing P2, and Zulf ended up finishing P6, which now means the championship is still alive going into this race, but miracles have to happen this race for the championship to go to Monza, which is next week. As I believe Joe, who is the man actually challenging Zul for the championship, is the first driver who is out and will be starting on a lap. So I have a little photo here which I have done of a few bit of math, as Suchel has retired from the session. As we're going to ride on board with Joe now as he comes up into turn 1. You want to be braking as turn 2. You actually don't want to cut much, because I've done that a lot before. Into turn 3, he does it quite nice. Then into the second sector, 17.3 is his time, round turn 4, and round turn 5, I believe. Yes, up into turn 6, and then into turn 7. You want to be going nearly 7th gear. Round turn 8, and then through the left-hander of turn 9. Then this corner here, which isn't actually a corner surprisingly. Then you've got the big right-hander of turn 10, and then you've got the swooping left-hander in the last corner of sector 2. Joe does it quite nicely. 52.5 is the current sector 2 time. A good exit out of turn 12 is needed to build the speed through turn 13, round turn 14, and the last corner, turn 15. You want to cut as much as possible but not invalidate. Joe across the line, first man to settle up is a 109.2. We have a Alfa Romeo behind of Wani, goes 6 thousandths behind Joe as Villeneuve sets a 8.8, as I believe we then have Dave. Oh no, it's Stevie starting a lap, sorry. We then have James Sullivan on a lap right now. He will be coming across the line now. Where can he put himself? It's a 9.208. He goes ahead of Joe. He puts himself provisionally P2. We then have the Mercedes driver of Vries, or Bastian is what people like to call him. He will be coming across the line now. What will it be for him? It's going to be an 8.9. He will go into provisional P2. We then have a Haas of Dave coming across the line. What can Dave do? He sets a 10. Probably a slow lap would be my guess. McLaren next of Tim. Actually starting a lap. Then it's Zulf, the championship leader. He invalidated his lap. He's flying again. That's then, I believe, Joe diving into the pit lane. It's then Villeneuve diving into the pit lane. Wani diving into the pit lane. Then a Haas of Stevie, who is on a lap I haven't rolled on board with Stevie, so we don't know if he's up on his time or not. But Stevie loves qualifying. It's an 8.4 on his first lap. 4 attempts clear of Villeneuve. Massive, massive pace from Stevie there. As I don't think, believe me, I might be wrong, but I don't think anyone else is on a lap. Zolf has invalidated his lap time. Tim's on another lap. I think Tim is the only driver who has came out again. As Tim went P4 with an 8.955. As that is a Alpine of Swisstack on a lap, I believe. Yeah? No? Yeah? Yeah, it is. A Swisstack has invalidated. So everyone having done their first laps now, setting interesting positions. We see Stevie doing what he loves best, setting a ridiculous first lap time, being tenths clear of the field, which he has done again, being just over 4 tenths clear of Villeneuve. Villeneuve having actually a really good time, just short of 1 tenth clear of Bastian, who's then just ahead of Tim. 21 thousandths is the gap between him and Tim. And then it's about a 2.5 tenth gap to James Sullivan behind, who is on a 9.2. He is actually going to be starting a lap. Joe is behind Wanny starting a lap. It's then Nico Houghton in the head. So I'll remember that order. We'll ride on board with Wanny and we'll see what he can do. We'll then switch to James and then we'll switch to Joe. That is the order we go in for the people who is on their laps. So Wanny going into turn 2. He is a tenth down on his time right now. He is not up at all. Round turn 4 and round turn 5, he'll definitely be looking to improve on a 9.2 lap time. 8 tenths off Stevie right now. As he's done that in 5th gear, it's interesting gears. 2nd gear, oh my days, I can't believe that. Anyway, round turn 10, Wanny goes. And then round the left-hander of turn 11, you don't want to take it that wide. Then into turn 12, important that you get a great exit here for the best launch you can possibly get. As I think Joe's actually spun on his lap. Yes, he has. But anyway, right on the board with Wanny. Oh, Wanny, that was... He invalidated trying to set a fastest lap time as James is going to come across the line. Goals P2, an 8.795. A very nice lap time from him. Sees himself putting... He just goes a half attempt clear of Villeneuve, which is a nice time from him. Stevie on an outlap. Spun trying to start a lap time. Interesting. He's waiting on the track for drivers to go past, but that might be a dive into the pit lane job, as Tim is starting a lap time. Joe is still invalidated. Dave has invalidated when he's a tenth and a half up. Nico Holtonen's dodging the traffic. Swisstack, I don't know what's happening with Swisstack. Zolf, on the other hand, our championship leader, the man who could be taking the championship today, he is on the lap and he hasn't invalidated this lap as a difference. He invalidated the first 2 laps that you tried to do. Is he going to stick with it? Yes, he is. What is it going to be for Zolf, the man looking to take the championship today? It's going to be P2 in his first lap, which he completes, an 8.726. It sees him go... What is the gap between... just short of 3/10 is the gap between Zulf and Stevie after those laps. So, is anyone else on the lap? I believe Daniel is on a lap. Daniel, having taken a little break, a few exams, and also lack of motivation on the game, he is back for the last few races. He's going to be coming across the line. What time can he set? It's going to be a 9.4. It puts him P9. That's then Stevie on another lap, and he goes 2/10 faster than his time, an 8.2. He goes a ridiculous 5/10 clear of Zolf behind. An 8.2 is near my pace, and I'm an F2. That is ridiculous. I can't believe that. That is something. Stevie, by the way, I'm saying it as if Zolf can take the championship today, but I want to mention like the math and stuff. Pretty much, Zolf wins. If Zolf wins the race today, he wins the championship. It's simple as that. If Zolf finishes in the top three, mathematically, Stevie cannot stay in the championship. Joe can keep the championship alive, but Stevie will be out of it. Zolf needs to really be finishing P4, 5, or 6, and then Stevie needs to win the race plus get extra points every few positions for him to have any chance of keeping the championship alive. In other words, I will be keeping this image up, which I have, of the math. I will be keeping this up the whole time to ensure that I know if Darius is winning the championship or not. But like I said, the chances that the championship is won today, it is possible. I'm not going to put a percentage on it, what the chance is, but there is that chance. And this always Swistack has invalidated turn 2 as as I've said, this would be the first championship to be sealed as Wani has retired in the pit lane, I believe. Yes, he has. Bastian crashed in the pit exit. Joe, I'm not sure I can go faster than this, and he sits on a 9.2, a second behind Stevie's lap time. So Stevie out again, Esford on the lap, so Stack restarting his lap. Esford letting the drivers past. He looks to have abandoned his lap, yeah. So Esford probably will be going again. Stevie looking to try, really impressed today. So we're going to ride on board with Stevie because currently he's 5/10 clear, and it would be very, very impressive if he can improve on this lap time because this pace which he's got right now could be possible F3 pace if he can race that. James Sullivan has left the session as Stevie has spun round. Don't hit the rear. Oh my days, literal millimeters off the wall. That was impressive. As bear with, I'm trying to get James Sullivan back in the lobby. There we go. That is an invite to him. Thankfully, Stevie has waited for the cars who are on laps to go by. Nico Holtonen apparently 8/10 up on his lap time. That might have been the last lap though, or is it this lap? No, it is this lap. Nico Houghton P10 a 9.6. It is a near second improvement. Sustak struggling to set a lap time. SVOD, we locked up a lot there. And this will be his one and only lap, I believe. There will be no time for him to go again, as Daniel is starting a lap. Dave is behind wanting to start a lap, and Stevie is also behind wanting to start a lap. So just a bit of a train of cars. So Daniel is on a lap now. We are going to ride on board with him. It's then Dave and then Stevie. Again, I believe, yeah. So we'll see what Daniel can do, of course, having made a return back now. He'll be looking to try pick things up of the few podiums which he managed to achieve this season. 11 thousandths down was Daniel's time. Question is, can he improve anymore? Stevie has binned it on track with his teammate Dave. I think. I might be wrong, but Stevie's binned it on the middle of the track. So I'm not sure what has happened there. But we're going to go riding on board with Black Wolf again. We haven't saw what is... Oh wait, second splitter is now. He's over 3/10 up. He hasn't got the grace of exits, and he's nearly binned it. Oh, that's so unlucky. A 3/10 improvement would have put him up into P7 at least. But Tim, I'm sorry, I didn't see this. Tim goes P2 with an 8.6. And now the pressure is on the drivers behind. The likes of Zulf, the likes of James. Zulf goes purple sector 1. Tommy is joining the session now. I need to send another invite to him. It's not the greatest of time to be... I don't have him added. This Zulf has spun on his lap. We saw it briefly. Zulf has spun. Joe, the championship rival of Zulf, drives past him as he is on a lap time. Nico Holtonen is trying to start another lap, I believe. Bastian is on the lap. He's currently just over a tenth up, I should say. Where is he going to go? He improves, and he goes a thousandth behind Villeneuve. He will not move any positions, but he does improve. Joe is 6/10 up. This is a massive lap. This can put him into P2 as he hits the wall, but it shouldn't matter. No, it does! He goes P4 with an 8.761. He's behind Zulf, his championship rival. James Sullivan, on the other hand, could make a surprise return to the front row. He's a 10th up. He needs to be just over a 10th up. What is it going to be for James? He stays P5. He loses the time at the end. Joe, Dave the last one to come across the line. It's P10. That is qualifying over. Tim Lees is on the front row. Stevie. Wow. This is setting us up for a brilliant championship battle race. Stevie in P1. Tim in P2. Zulf in P3. Joe in P4. Look how close the times were. Villeneuve and Bastian's time got updated. Villeneuve and Bastian's at the exact same time. Down to the thousandth, it was the same. Wow, that was a close call. Quali from P2 to P7 is separated by nearly a tenth and a half. Oh, as Stevie has said, he's on a dry setup. I forgot about that. A few people are on dry setups, a few people are on wet setups, because apparently we're getting a full wet race. I forgot about that. So Stevie is sending it. Why is Joe's car taking so long? So, it is Stevie on pole position by 4.5 tenths. The important thing which you have to note, though, he has said he's on a dry setup and it's possibly a wet race. We aren't sure of the weather conditions because it is a little bit glitched, but this qualifying was so close. P2 to P7 separated by nearly a tenth and a half. Tim is on the front row in the McLaren in P2. Zolf trying to take the championship today is in P3 with his championship rival Joe in P4. It's then James Sullivan in P5. Villeneuve, Bastian, Wani, Blackwolf and Dave rounding up the top 10. And then it's Nico Holtonen, Isfod, Swistak and Suchel, the two Alpines at the back. Suchel's serving a qualiban, Swistak not being able to set a good enough lap time to promote himself any positions. This will be interesting. Is it a wet race, is the question, because the weather didn't seem, it wasn't giving reliable results. It's dry. Oh my days. It's cloudy though, so I think it goes dry to wet. That would be my guess. If not, Stevie has took the biggest gamble ever and it's going to pay off if it stays dry, but it is very cloudy. It's saying wet all the way, but currently there is no wet, which we can see on track or in the skies. It is one of those lobbies, which is what the drivers are saying. Anyway, no formation that, because the game still isn't being fixed as the new game's coming out. But anyway, we're 3, 4, 5 red lights at Brazil in F5. It's lights out and away we go. Is Tim going to take the lead? Have a good start? Yes, he is. Where is Stevie going to drop to is the question. It looks like P3 is where he's going to go. Is there's massive contact behind? That is Villeneuve round with someone else. But Stevie down into P4. Tim laces up into the lead of the race. Joe getting past Zolf on the start. Joe up into P2. Zolf looking for moves. Stevie very close behind. Let's get up the tyres. Everyone deciding to go mediums. Dave on softs. Suchel and Swistak on softs. Villeneuve on mediums. And Nico Holtonen, only driver to be deciding to go onto the hard compound of tyres. As that is a massive send from Isfod. Forces Dave off the track. However, Isfod goes wide to give Dave the position back, which is very good sportsmanship from him there. But Tim is in control of the race right now. He is in the lead of the race, as Joe is behind him, who's looking to try to keep the championship alive today. As Zolf is slightly dropping off the back, it'll be interesting if the wet will come. They're saying it's going to be steady rain, but it might not be wet enough to go onto the wet tyres. Maybe enters then, potentially. But we can see already the top 5 is the clear gap, as James is struggling to keep within that second range of the 4 drivers ahead. Bastian managing to keep up with James Sullivan. It's then a gap behind also to Blackwolf and Dave, who I know these 3 in P6, P7 and P8 are all in the party together. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe let each other pass. Dave sends it on Blackwolf as James is gone. James has spun from P5. James is round and he's into last place, and then Bastian has 2 seconds to catch up as now Dave's gone as well on the left-hander of turn 12, I believe, as Tim is still in the lead of the race. But I think we're going to see Stevie on the move. No, we're going to see Zolf lock up, nearly going to the back of Joe, and then it's Zolf and Stevie fighting each other, first and third in the championship. Stevie is passed and up into P3 of the race. Zolf is off of the podium. Which means currently Stevie can keep the championship alive. He needs to win the race, however. Is it raining? I'm going to be watching on board with quite a lot of the drivers to make sure when it rains or not, because it is very, very cloudy. And I could guarantee there will be rain on its way, as Dave and Nico Holtonen are fighting side by side. Swistak and Nico Holtonen are fighting side by side. Swistak on the softs, he gets past Nico Holtonen, staying behind and nearly going into the rear though. But Tim is managing to keep a good pace right now and is keeping the lead of the race secure for now, as Joe is closing in behind. Joe sits his fastest lap of the race. Esfod and Blackwolf. Esfod is passed up into P6, as it's Stevie and Joe now. The top three are fighting yet again. Stevie is on a charge. Stevie is up into P2. He knows what he has to do this race to keep the championship alive. And it's now going to be Zulf and Joe. Zulf possibly sending it on Joe. He does not brake late enough to make a send on his championship rival. As the lines which these drivers are taking are so different. Stevie has caught right up with Tim. Tim is feeling the pressure. As I'm looking how it stands right now, as it stands currently, Zulf wins the championship. How it is right now, if it stays like this, Zulf is the championship winner of F5, but I think we will see some switches, like Stevie trying to gain on Tim. Is he going to send it into turn 1? Yes, he is. Stevie is braking extra late. There is contact. Stevie's had a massive mistake. He's off the track near enough. Tim makes contact with Stevie, and now Joe looking to try overtake Tim for the lead of the race. Tim doesn't have DRS or ERS, I believe, and Joe, just like that. Oh wait, no, Tim is still trying to stick it, but Joe is up into the lead of the race and is giving himself the best chance right now. As it stands now, the championship will move to Monza. It's not done yet. Tim trying to defend Stevie as much as he can. Bastian is now getting involved in this because of the amount of attacking which has happened in contact with these top 4 drivers. There's so much happening that Bastian's now getting involved. Esfod soon as well, so we might see a little top 6 fight happening. Bastian now being able to hold on with DRS to this top 4 train, and Joe has got a second gap on Tim. He's on 1.3 seconds. Tim will not have DRS, but Stevie will. So Stevie maybe going to try it for a second time in a row now. A dive bomb into turn 1. He fakes the move. He decides not to go for it. He thinks better of a risky move. As there's rain. The rain is here at lap 6 of 36. So Stevie has to push now on a dry setup. He needs the positions and he needs them now. Stevie sends it on Tim. The question is can he stick it? Tim forces himself off wide. Stevie up into P2. Zulf trying to get past him now, I believe. Zulf slightly lifting because now the track is going to be a lot different to how it normally is when it is fully dry. Bastian trying to go around the outside of Zulf, but it does not work. But actually, Bastian's going to send it on the inside for P4. Zulf and Bastian are fighting. Bastian has a massive moment on the acceleration and will fall and will stay P5, I should say. Zulf nearly out of the DRS range. DRS will definitely be disabled soon, as Tim is gaining on Stevie. Is Tim now going to look for a move potentially into turn 1? I think he will. Revenge to Stevie into turn 1. Is there going to be contact? They're still side by side. Stevie's trying to go around the outside. Tim barely leaving himself room on the track. Stevie does, and it's a 4-way battle in the DRS straight. We're seeing 3 wide between the Ferrari, the McLaren and the Haas. Someone's in the wall, I believe, or a braking board's gone. Tim and Zulf making even more contact. I think Stevie is losing a bit of his front wing, or someone is, because I saw something flying up in the air. It might have been a braking board, actually. Thankfully, nobody in F5 runs no line. But wow, we just saw 3 wide on the DRS straight between these drivers. Can we mention how Stevie has dropped from P3 down to P5 because of that. He's lost all the positions and is now even S4 has even gained the back as Tim has had a massive mistake and Zulf is passed up into P2. And now Bastian is trying to get past Tim. Bastian's all over the back of Tim. Is Joe going to be in? Is it enters yet? No, it's not. Joe is not in. Zulf isn't. Nobody is. And now it's just a massive, massive train. We might see 3 wide into turn 1, but we are going to see Tim v Zulf into turn 1. They avoid contact. Bastian's going to look to try compromise, take the positions, but now he's compromised himself for Stevie, who's going to try to stick it around the outside, and then on the DRS straight, try to get the position. We're seeing a fight for P2 and P4. Tim and Zulf going side by side. Bastian blocking off the move from Stevie, but Zulf and Tim are still side by side. They've stuck it for nearly a whole entire sector. It looks like Zulf is going to hold on to the P2 right now. As Bastian will... Oh, Bastian! That's a corner cutting penalty, definitely. He cannot take the position for that. But now Stevie shouldn't take the position from that move. Oh, Stevie sent it! As Bastian's run off the track, he's got the corner completely wrong because of the rain. Stevie's going to send up the inside on this corner. What? And now Esfod is going to take the compromise Stevie and try to get up into P5. What on earth is happening? Tim barely holding on to the DRS of Zulf. Bastian not getting DRS. And now Stevie closing in on Bastian. Stevie sends it on Bastian. And he's a massive moment. He goes off track. Bastian stays P4. But wow, that was an audacious move from Stevie. And Stevie might look for another move on the second DRS straight. He sends it on the inside. He brakes slightly late. Bastian tries to get the switch back. Bastian and Stevie side by side for P4. But Stevie on the dry setup with a straight line speed is going to get ahead. Oh my days, my voice is already gone. I can feel it. It's already deteriorating. As now Zulf is now panthering onto Joe, his championship rival. Of course, remember, if Zulf wins this race, the championship is done. If Zulf even finishes in P2, Joe has to win this race. And as it stands right now, Joe is winning the race, which means currently the championship will be alive going into Monza in Italy. But the question is, are we going to see another fight between these three in P4, 5 and 6? In other words, Bastian trying to get Stevie, but the straight line speed of Stevie is too good. And he keeps Bastian away. It is now Villeneuve and Blackwell for fighting for P7, as Villeneuve is passed. As Esfod and Bastian. Esfod might be looking to try and get the move done. He saved his ERS. He's on 60%, and it is a very, very easy move for Esfod. Now up into P5 of this race. McLaren having a very nice race right now, sitting in P3 and P5. As I believe they look to try catch up in the constructors, sitting, I believe, 4th place right now. As Zulf is within the DRS range of Joe, barely though. The question is, across the DRS line, after these two corners, will Zulf have the DRS or not? As Blackwolf and Villeneuve are fighting, Blackwolf is back up into P7. Zulf looks like he does not get DRS from Joe, but is draining his whole entire battery. Zulf sitting on 0. Joe is on 60. So Joe's pace has been so good, he's actually been saving this whole entire time. As Villeneuve and Blackwolf are fighting again, Villeneuve up into P7 again. Needs to now switch twice in the last lap, as that is a penalty for Dave, who has taken the softs for 10 laps. As that is Stevie and Tim. Sorry that I have not saw this. Tim, I believe, is locked up into turn 4, I believe that is, and Stevie is now up into the podium position. I think that was right. I'm not so sure, but Tim is struggling now. Tim is falling off, and Stevie now needs to gain 3.7 seconds to catch up to Zulf ahead, who Zulf is now 5 tenths behind his championship rival Joe. This is going to be the biggest battle, I think, I was about to say of F5 history. Of F5 this season, definitely. The battle which we saw between the 5-6 drivers, the 3 wide, that was the biggest battle which we've saw this season. And we might see another one very soon between these two, because these two really are the ones who are deciding the championship today. Stevie, of course, takes a major role in it as well. But currently, right now, this is the main race. This is the big race. Is Zulf closing in on Joe? I'm just trying to recover from all that screaming which I did, because I'm going to be doing that again at the end of this race if Zulf wins the championship, and I need my voice to stay with me if I have to do the honours. Joe still not having used any of his ERS. He is now though. He uses ERS on the exit, which is quite smart. But Zulf using ERS and DRS. I think it's now when we're going to see a move for the lead of the race. Potentially. No, we're not though. It looked like we might have, but we unfortunately aren't. Zulf maybe though on the second DRS straight. He's got the exit. We're going to see a move now between the man in P1 and P2 in the championship. Joe goes defensive. Zulf thinks about sending it, breaks early, and leaves Joe in an awkward line. Now the gap being 2/10 between the two drivers. They're flying away from Stevie, gaining 6/10 on Stevie now in the last few laps. So clearly it's these two to fight for the championship today. As Joe will do anything to try keep it alive as long as possible, and I believe he might do so as Dave has spun in P9. His tyres are gone. I think he has a puncture actually on these soft tyres. Let's see, is he struggling in the corner? I believe he does have a puncture. He's taken this off so long. I think he has a puncture. Anyway, Zulf and Joe. Zulf thinking of a move, but does Zulf thinking of a move on Joe, but he doesn't decide to go for it. But Joe has now drained most of his battery. I think Zulf is going to look for it again on the inside. They're actually alongside this time. It's the fight for the lead of the race. Joe manages to stick around the outside. Brilliant from Joe there, using all the track to his capability to keep on track and on the lead of this race. As so close to nearly making contact, but Joe is trying to pull up the big guns now. Pulled about 6/10 there on Zulf, which is a good gap, but Zulf getting a okay exit, but Joe using a little bit of ERS, trying to pull away. 7/10 the gap is now. So Zulf, will he look for another move now is the question. 2.5 behind. He's gaining, and he's gaining. But is he going to send it? No, he is not. Oh, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be the fight of the race. I really want to see like a last lap battle potentially between these two. This would be the most entertaining battle which we saw this whole entire season, because this depends the last 6-ish months of racing. It all comes down. Ah, no, wait, no, that's a bit of an over exaggeration, I think. Yeah, no, it is. The last 4 months of racing all comes down to this race, really. this can be the race which all the last 4 months end up benefiting Zulf. They end up being the best 4 months which he spent practicing and racing in Ero and F5. As the gap is now 5/10 between the two. As Joe is just trying to maintain this healthy gap which he has. Stevie has had a lot more pace to Tim, now gaining on Tim. 4-second gap nearly between those two. As there was a move in the back, Suchel going into the pit lane. Dave gets past him as he's in the pit lane. Zulf is actually quite close behind now. We may see a move soon. Zulf using, but Joe gets such a good exit that Zulf can't keep up. As Joe's in, the question is this for hards or is this for inters? It's for hards. So it looks like it might not be raining. But it's interesting to see that Joe is trying to go for the undercut. And I believe he's going to be coming out in a little bit of traffic by the name of James Sullivan. He's going to be coming out side by side, near enough, literally side by side, with the Williams driver. That might have been a pit lane cut on the exit for Joe, but I'm not entirely sure. The rain looks like it might be getting slightly heavier, but I might be wrong. But we're going to ride on board with Zulf to see potentially if he is boxing this lap. Is he in this lap? No, he's not. Zulf is going out long. As Joe is on the back of James Sullivan, will definitely be looking for a move. I imagine on this DRS straight he might look for a move. James is not using. I don't think he's going to defend it that heavily unless he wants to take the inside line. No, he's not. He backs out. It's not team orders, but it's gentleman racing from James. He doesn't want to make Joe's life a misery, in other words. As Joe now trying to get in the DRS range of Daniel, it might be possible. Is Zulf in now? Yes, Zulf is in. The pit lane entry is fine. Stevie is staying. Tim, not in. Bastian, not in. Esfod is in. So Zulf is in. The question is, where is Joe? Daniel is in, so Joe has got clean air. Zulf just exiting the pit lane now. The question is Joe going to come out ahead? They're going to come out side by side, I believe. It's so close, but Joe is ahead. Barely. Zulf is right there. He does not go for the move. So Joe still is in the lead of the race, despite going for a 2 to 3 lap undercut on Zulf. as Zulf's cold tyres now means he's not in the DRS range. As Wani has retired on track. It's a safety car, and Bastian has timed this to utmost perfection. He's literally came in when a safety car has came out. What is actually no, that's the worst timing ever, I think. Not the best, because now Stevie has a chance of coming out in the lead when he pits. Potentially. As Dave is deciding to stay out on 6 lap old mediums. Interesting strategy calls from here. Question is, can Stevie possibly... As Stevie is coming up to the pit lane now, he's using ERS because he's got to try be as fast as he can get into the pit lane. He's just got to make sure the pit lane entry is fine, which it is. Tim also will be coming in. Just got to make sure his pit lane entry is also fine. It is fine as well. Joe, I imagine, will come out ahead of both cars. Same with Zulf. But we'll ride on board anyway. Stevie, X in the pit. Oh my days. There's a chance. And I think Stevie will be P3. Yeah, Stevie is going to be P3. As that is Swiss Stack just keeping ahead. So Swiss Stack narrowly avoids being lapped, literally by a few hundred meters. It's Tim and Bastian. Tim is pit late, and I think Bastian has undercut Tim. Yeah, he has. So somehow Bastian has managed to get past Tim, and now Bastian is up into P4 in this race. Sorry. But this is going to be so interesting now because Joe's tyres are older than everyone else's now. So there's a chance Joe could fall back, but at the same time he also could stay in this position. Oh, this is going to be a great last 15 or so laps, however many we're going to have. So I don't think any drivers are going to be entering the pit lane. Actually, James is. James in the pit lane on 2 lap old hards. What is he doing? Meachams? He is, I think. Yes, he is. James Sullivan taking the gamble and going onto the medium compound of tyres. Safety car might not even be in this lap. Nick Alton still has to catch up about 40 seconds. So, I don't think we'll be seeing it in this lap. I think we will see it on lap 23, which means we will have 13 laps of beautiful racing between these drivers, the 13 drivers now on the grid. So I believe safety car will not be in this lap. If it is, it's going to be a very, very late call. But I don't think the game will be ridiculous enough to do it now. because the pit lane is literally coming up. We are staying out for one more lap. So yeah, we will see 13 laps of racing. I've got to say right now, I don't want to make the podium predictions or whatever, but it's looking interesting right now, the current positions. Because of course, as it stands right now, the championship goes to Monza, because Zolf finishing P2, Joe needs to score at least 22 points in order to keep it alive. And currently, him being P1, he is on 25. Actually, who has fastest lap? It's Stevie. So Stevie is actually currently on 20 points, but Zolf being P2 means mathematically Stevie will be out of the championship fight. As it stands right now, everyone in the field has caught up, so it will be safety car in this lap, so we will see all the drivers doing a little weave to try to heat up the tyres in these wet conditions. The cars are now actually getting a little bit wetter than I thought they might have been. The track, still not wet though. It's just the cars are looking a bit covered in specks of rain. So, safety cars in this lap, so Joe will back up the field now. So the question is, when will Joe go? I would love if we could get a different camera angle. So we're going to ride on board with him and we're going to look back to see when he decides to go. He is not going yet, but he is going to go. He's leaving it quite late. This is going to be a very big restart. He does not go yet. He's leaving it so close to the line as Joe decides to go now, just before the line. Utter chaos behind. I see 3 wides happening. There's already someone gone. But Joe is going to keep the lead. Zolf has a moment. Stevie. There's a side-by-side between Dave and Villeneuve. Villeneuve is dropping back. Black Wolf is dropping back. That's someone gone. That's Bastian gone. And that's a massive, massive crash between Esfod and James Sullivan. I don't think we're going to see the safety car yet. Nico Holtonen got collected in that as well. The safety car has only just went in, so that means the safety car will not be coming out for that incident, although that is a major, major incident. What just happened recently in F1, in the league, I'm going to call it, I'm not going to say the name, in PlayStation F1, a 4-car DNF happened at that exact corner, and pretty much the exact same thing has happened there on a wet track, semi-wet track I should say. But right now, oh my days, there is a lot of fighting behind. Dave and Villeneuve fighting. Dave holding off Villeneuve. But Stevie on the back of Zolf now. As Bastian's had, I think, Bastian maybe getting rear wing damage potentially, as James is in the pit lane. Will he retire or just go softs? Looks like he's going to continue going. Fair props to him for staying, I think. But Zolf right now, keeping in this position, I don't want to say it, but this is near enough going to confirm a championship win in Monza. As James has left the session, but has not retired in the pit lane. I'll send him another invite, but I hope Saini's still in. Okay, so I'll leave it a little bit. Stevie is on the back of Zulf and Joe. Stevie right now is sitting in a very nice position. He's got the freshest tyres of these three. As Zulf is looking for a move. We're going to see a move for the lead, I believe, but Zulf actually backs off. He doesn't want to cause anything as of yet. As Joe goes slightly wide there, but it's fine. He hasn't got a corner cutting penalty. Actually, I wonder if we could check that. Oh, talking about corner cutting penalties. I've jinxed it yet again. Steve the TV, 3-second time penalty. He is 3 seconds clear as that is Villeneuve round, the Ferrari driver. Ferrari very close to sealing the constructor soon as well. And now Villeneuve spinning round now means he's dropped into P9 of this race. As Dave is all over the back of Tim. But so is Stevie on Zulf. Stevie is very close to Zulf, using a little bit of ERS, but Zulf is now using ERS to try look for a move potentially on Joe on the second DRS straight. That was so close to a warning. That could be a warning actually. As Stevie is so close to Zulf, but I don't believe we're going to see any moves as of yet. No, we are not. Are we going to see any moves between the likes of Tim, Dave, Black Wolf, Suchel? Not yet. But Zulf is now all over the back of Joe. It's a 2/10 gap. Zulf nearly losing the car there. This front three is unbelievable. Their pace today has been incredible. Their pace their whole season has been incredible. Remember that Zulf has raced in every single race except for one where he disconnected as Joe has spun round. Sorry, I've been thinking too much. Joe's had a massive moment and Joe all of a sudden is into P5 of this race. How did I not see that? Okay, all of a sudden this is spiced up. Dave is trying to get Tim, but is not right now. Stevie managed to get past Zulf with whatever happened with Joe there. He's nearly collected Zulf. Does Zulf have damage? Because he's dropping off the back of Stevie. It looks like he doesn't, but he hasn't been able to pick the pace up as of yet. But the question is, what does the championship look like now? It looks like, as of right now, it's going to be finalised. So all of a sudden, the turn of events, Joe having a massive moment now means that the championship can be sealed for Zulf, for Darius. As Zulf is in that 3-second gap of Stevie. Tim is in the 3-second range now as well. As Zulf has managed to get the DRS range. As James Sullivan has retired in the pit lane. I think what he was meaning to do originally until he accidentally crashed from the session. But Joe right now, he needs to get back up there. But the question is, has he left it too late? Has that mistake cost him a chance at the championship? Of course, what we have to remember, what I was about to mention before Joe had that moment, Zulf has raced every single race this season except for in Canada where his connection issues meant he could not score any points in the race. Stevie has missed 4 races. Joe has missed 5 races. So imagine what Joe could have done if he had raced in those 5 races. The championship would be actually Zulf catching Joe potentially. But there's a massive fight happening here between Dave and Tim, as Dave is being held up quite massively by Tim right now. As Dave sits on these 15-lap-old medium tyres and wants to get the move done. He's using his ERS before he's even got the DRS, but then Tim uses the ERS at a great moment and waits. As now this little train for a podium spot is quite interesting because of the time penalties. Really, it's between Tim and Joe right now. But Zolf is on the back of Stevie still. 7 laps left of racing. As James has also left the session. So we're down to 11 drivers as it stands right now. As Dave is alongside Tim before he's even got DRS, but he's using all of his ERS now. The move can be done now. Joe is there as well. We might see 3 wide into turn 1. Are we? We're going to see Dave potentially send on Tim, and Dave takes himself out of the race and has left Tim so compromised. And now Joe has a great opportunity to take this podium back from Tim, as Tim's left him no room. Joe's nearly went on the grass. Joe does not send it. Wow, that was very close between those two. As Zulf, is he going to try get the move done, or is he just going to keep it chill and win? I think he's going to stay behind just for now. But who knows what's going to happen. Is Tim having a little moment there? As DRS has been disabled. So all of a sudden, this track has become so wet that it might now actually be a wet track surface. As Zolf, is he actually going to look for a move now? Or are these drivers going to enter the pit lane and go on to enters? No, they're not. As 4 laps remaining of Zolf's charge to trying to win his first championship in Ero. So, any moves being done? Not right now. DRS is still disabled, remember. So even though Zolf is within 5 tenths of Stevie, he's not going to be getting DRS. They're both really just using DRS. Stevie having a lot more than Zolf. Which I think will maybe keep Stevie in the lead of the race, but of course this 3-second time penalty means Stevie will drop down to P2. As it stands, as now we enter the 3rd last lap. As Joe gets a 3-second time penalty. Okay, so all of a sudden Joe is now not. I mean, he wasn't going to be on the podium as it stood, but now he's pushed himself even further back of potentially getting a podium. And all of a sudden, this has become so much more interesting because Joe might not even be on the podium now. As Zolf might look for a move. He is very, very close to entering into the second last lap. But he does not go for a move as of yet. But maybe now is the question. As, oh my days! Joe has spun and has fallen down to P7 and is now side by side with Zolf's teammate and is up into P and is down into P8, I should say. Wow, what on earth is happening? There is so much happening right now. But we have to ride on board with this man. We have to ride on board with Zolf. What a race this has been. We've saw such a rollercoaster of events happening. As Zolf enters the last lap, Zolf just has to keep it on track, and Zolf can become a part of history in Ero. Zolf, having raced in Season 7, he finished where in the standings? He finished 14th in the standings. He joined near the start of Season 8. So his first full season is Suchel and Dave are fighting for P. Oh, Suchel's ghosted. As anyway, back to Zolf. Zolf is now managing to fulfill his dream. What seemed like a destined dream is now going to become reality for Zolf. He makes history. The first Irish driver to win a F1 championship in Ero. Zolf, Darius coming across the line. He wins the F5 championship. The first PlayStation tier to have the championship sealed and collected. Zolf becomes a part of the history books. The second man to win the championship and have it confirmed this season in Season 9. The first of all 5 PlayStation tiers to have the championship done. And he's the first ever Irish driver to be winning a championship in Ero. So a new nation is added to the history books of champions in Ero. Congratulations to Zolf. He's won 3 times this season. A race in Singapore, a race in Hungary, and a Zandvoort sprint race. And he stood on the podium 9 times. 2 of those being a sprint race at Zandvoort and Silverstone. But Zolf has now accomplished the dream of league racing. He has won the F5 championship. Congratulations to Zolf. He has won it. As he walks out onto the podium, I'm sorry I skipped it. But that is it done. Zolf from P3 in the race wins at Brazil, makes it his 4th win of the season, and he wins the championship. As I said, Stevie keeps a P2 finish. He got fastest lap, pole position, and P2, so he will get 20 points this race. Tim on the podium quite clearly as well. We then have Black Wolf on the return after a little break, gets P4, a great race from him. Dave gets P5, Villeneuve gets P6, Joe spinning at the end falls to P7. He could have kept the championship alive, but so unfortunate he couldn't. Suchel at the end there, by the way, was fighting with Dave for P5, and he's dropped back to P8. Ran out of fuel at the end of the race. Very, very unfortunate there. But then we have Swiss Stack in P9, Bastian in P10, Nico Holton in P11, and in the 3 DNF drivers of today, of James Sullivan, Esfod, and Wani. So let's see if the man Darius wants to join us for an interview, a championship interview, a special interview. As he has said yes, so we will add him to the party to speak with the first Irish champion in Ero, the first PlayStation champion to be crowned this season. As I try to find his name, as I have to scroll through my very long friends list, as he has been added. As he is here. Darius, what you feeling?
I feel bad for Joe
Oh,
because I clipped into the back of him in sector 2.
you did?
Yeah, it was a very, very slight tap, but it made him lose the car.
Oh.
Yeah, I apologized to him in private and already, but
Yeah.
these things happen.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. I was just, you probably haven't had to stream it, but while I've just been going over there, the first PlayStation champion to be crowned this season, the first Irish Euro champion in history, and I was just going through your results as well this season. This is your 10th time stepping onto the podium this season, your 4th win this season. And of course, something which has helped you quite a lot is not missing many races. Of course, Canada was a bit of a sketchy thing with the connection issues, but you know, coming to every race has helped you quite a bit securing this.
Yeah. If you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the you don't win the lotto, right?
that is true.
Yeah, there was like midway through the season after Canada and Zandvoort and was it Spain?
What we're
I think there
talking
was
midway.
Yeah, there was 3 races where I should have won. Should have won them, and whatever happened, Ferrari things happened in each of the races.
I'll check standings to see what races you mean. So pretty much any race where you haven't finished on the podiums. Let's see: Bahrain, Austria, Canada, Britain, Spa.
Yeah, I had a very bad race in Silverstone.
Yeah, you got what, P6? That is 8 points. So yeah. Can we just talk about that as well? Your lowest finish this season's P6, apart from a DNF in Imola and a disconnect in Canada. You haven't finished below the top 6 this season.
Yeah, it's
Just mega consistent. This also helped.
I mean, when I started playing this game properly last season, I was on full traction control and very, very slow.
And what assist are you on now?
Medium traction control.
Yeah. Making
But then I'll be dropping again for the next game, hopefully.
Oh, I can say this. I was doing beta running today. I think everyone should go line only, to be honest. It's quite easy. or at least traction off, because it's quite easy to run traction off
Ye-
next game.
Yeah, but if you've no traction control, you need to run medium or automatic gears, or manual gears, sorry.
Eh, not really. I mean,
No.
it's not a requirement. You don't have to.
But just for short shifting and stuff like this. But
Yeah, sure.
oh,
Understandable.
we'll see what happens.
Uh, do you want to say anything to like any drivers or anyone
Yeah,
just watching the stream?
to Joao and as my teammate, he's been a rock the
Hmm.
last 2 seasons. He helped me so much, so thank you to him. Joe and Stevie, you've been incredible as well. Um, just great battles with them. I'm really sorry to Joe what happened on the track today. But yeah, and then the rest of F5, you're all great. You're all goats.
Hmm.
It's a good little family that we have here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
F5 is great. Just looking here at constructors, I don't think constructors is sealed today, but a
Mhm.
very high chance that it is in. Quite ironically, Ferrari winning the constructors in Monza. I feel like that's just ironic enough.
It'd be poetic, wouldn't it?
Because I think for anyone to defeat yous, neither you or Joe would have to score points, and Stevie and Dave would have to get 1-2, I think. I
Yeah.
think that's the chances, so I'm not saying it's not possible, but I think it's quite slim.
Yeah. Well, stranger things have happened in F5.
That is true, yeah.
That is definitely true. And thank you to you, Cameron. You've been great all season
Thanks. I've
commentating,
I've
and
I've
Jacob
tried.
as well for his stewarding. No, you've been fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've tried my best with the commentating. Of course, commentating 2 times a week is a little bit. I mean, I
Taxing.
enjoy it. I enjoy it. I'm trying to get into other leagues, commentating the big leagues. I'm not saying the names because Watch won't like it. But I'm trying to get into bigger leagues and get bigger roles because I would say, just personally with the commentating and stuff, I've been enjoying it a lot, and I feel like I can be quite passionate towards it. And I mean, I'm not as prepared for the commentary now, but if I need to be, I can be with like information, all that kind of stuff, which I can talk about during the race.
Hmm.
There's no problem. I can do that. I will for next season, probably, in any league on the
It's
new
all
game.
about confidence, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like, because you're talking to yourself for a lot of the time, or what you perceive to be yourself.
yeah,
Um, so yeah.
yeah. You're talking.
Again, Joe was amazing. Stevie was amazing all season long when they were there.
Yeah, Stevie, of course, being quite an F5 OG,
Yeah.
winning twice F5, I believe. Yeah, he's won F5 twice, I believe, which is unbelievable.
I'll have a bit of catching up to
Um,
do with him.
actually, I think this is really interesting. Stevie and Joe, I think Stevie's up into P2 in the standings now because of
Oh,
that
really?
result from. I might be wrong, but I'm guessing because Stevie got fastest lap pole and P2.
Uh-huh.
So he got 20. And where did Joe finish? Like
Six,
P7?
P6 or P7, yeah.
Let me do last 30 minutes and find out. And save my footage. I am going to say it was P7, I think.
Hmm.
But I will check now. Joe finished in P7. So that means he gets 6 points. So 14 points. Yeah, Stevie is ahead by 4 points.
Wow.
So that'll be an interesting battle. A little fight for P2 in the championship. Suchel, he got P8, so Suchel's still within a fight of getting P2 as well.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Second, third, fourth.
Um, well, I won't be racing in Jeddah, more than
Ah,
likely. So I hope
because you're away
everything's
on
wrapped up
holiday,
by
right?
next week. I'm going to Nottingham for a gig,
Oh, very nice.
and then I won't be racing next season either.
Excuse me?
because myself and my girlfriend are going to Thailand for 2 months. We're going backpacking from July to mid-September, and then I have my graduation
Oh
as
yeah,
well. So
that.
I'll probably miss about 6, 7 weeks if of the new season.
Oh my. Well, that well, we don't even know when the new season's starting. Wodge has
Hmm.
said he plans on having it starting July, which not many nice comments have been made about that, but we'll see. But we'll see when it starts. Of course, information will be released across social media. So
Yeah.
anyone, check Instagram, probably Twitter, probably TikTok, those kind of videos, those kind of social media. Definitely check out uh,
Yeah.
all of those social medias.
And they've been great as well. Woj, Liam, Luke,
Yeah,
Quill,
whole
the
of them.
rest, the whole admin staff, they've all been fantastic all season. I know
Yeah,
it's not an easy job, but they do it quite well.
yeah, I can 100% agree with what you're saying there. Anything else? And I'll just round up.
Nope, just been a great season. Loved every minute of it. And thank you.
No problem. So that was Darius, the F5 champion for season 9, speaking there. But apart from that, tune in next week at the same time, Friday, 6 p.m. GMT, for Monza, where we'll see, like I said, a little fight for P2 in the championship between Suchol, Stevie, and Joe. But apart from that, I've been Cameron Don. Thank you for everyone who has watched today's race, and like I said, we'll see you all next week, hopefully, for Monza. Thank you.